Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
There is such an incomprehensible stereotype that only cowards and insecure drivers buckle up in the car. If a motorist has not pulled the belt over himself, he can do anything. He is not afraid of any accidents, because he can easily get out of any situation. A truly bizarre situation that has nothing to do with common sense. Various systems have been developed to deal with those who ignore the elementary principles of safety while driving. The most popular and found on almost all relatively new cars, as well as on modern cars, are seatbelt sensors. If the driver sits behind the wheel, does not buckle up, and starts the engine, getting ready to drive, the electronics immediately detects this and starts making unpleasant noises. They do not stop until the motorist does not insert the belt into the lock. But to bypass such protection, a solution in the form of special plugs was invented. It is worth understanding what they are and why their use is considered a stupid and dangerous solution. What it is, you perfectly understand why exactly such plugs for seat belts were invented. The developers of this miracle were guided by the fact that motorists will not want to listen to the shrill squeaks of the protective system. They are not going to buckle up either. On old cars, it was enough to insert a coin into the lock, and the sound was switched off. On modern cars, this trick does not work anymore. So they came up with a new solution. These are plugs. By the way, many people are interested in what else are called such plugs designed for seat belts. They are quite often called tongs. But from this, the essence does not change in any way. The devices can be called anything. The design is very simple. Modern belts have standardized configurations, so it is not difficult to make the tongs. They differ only in appearance, giving motorists the right to choose. Understanding and realizing why a motorist needs such a seatbelt plug, you need to really look at the situation. There is a legitimate question about why to take such a risk, and why someone has a desire to bypass such a necessary safety component as a belt. After all, it is clear what may follow. Possible risks of using plugs. In order not to throw empty words, let's move from theory to practice. More precisely to the bare facts, which will largely answer all the questions about whether it is worth the risk of using tongs. Read also, two sides of the same seat belt cover. Imagine a car traveling at a relatively slow speed of 75 to 80 kilometers per hour. This is quite normal even in the city. At the same time, the car hits a wall of concrete or a pole. At this point, the following will happen. There's a massive impact. At this speed, it is about 30 times the weight of the vehicle itself. It is quite natural, since there is an abrupt stop of the car, which was previously moving at a decent speed. By inertia, the car moves forward, although the wall does not allow it to do so. The people in the cabin, i.e., the driver and passengers, keeping the same inertia, move forward. Their speed is equal to the speed of the car before the collision. And this is notional 80 kilometers per hour. In a fraction of a second, about 0.044 seconds, after the impact, the driver's chest hits the steering wheel. A moment later, at 0.068 seconds, the body hits the dashboard. In this case, the force of the impact is equal to about 9 tons. The man's time is minimal. Contrary to the widespread recommendation about the need to group and grab onto something firmly, there is not enough time for that. A person will not have time to do all this. The chances of survival in such a situation are minimal. Even provided that the car has a whole complex of airbags, it is unlikely to save. In the best case, the driver and passenger will receive the strongest injuries, not to remain disabled, after which a real miracle. Yes, the consequences may be less serious if the speed is slower and the obstacle is not as hard and the car passes over it. But there are also frontal collision effects that can be even more serious than a collision with a stationary object. How the airbag will make a difference. In the example described above, it was stated that the belt was not fastened, but nothing was said about the airbags. They have a direct impact on safety. It is believed that you do not need to buckle up if the car has airbags. They will save you anyway, and the belt is of no use. This is a mistake and a common misconception. Here you also need to simulate the situation. The car crashes into an obstacle, a wall, a pole, or another car. There is a plug in the belt lock, but there are cushions. The airbag device provides for the use of a pyropatron. Due to it, the airbag shoots out, and very quickly, and with great force. It takes a fraction of a second. This is done with the expectation that to determine the moment of impact on the steering wheel or front panel, softening the impact of the cushion. Read also, what to do if the car ran out of gas on the highway, but since the person is not wearing a seatbelt, it turns out that he crashes into the firing cushion by inertia and at great speed. It ends up with a massive impact. And instead of saving, the cushion can only hurt in such a situation. Only at low speeds can a pillow shot against an unbelted person break his nose. But at higher speeds, a collision like this can cause fracture of the cervical vertebrae, puncturing the rib cage, crushing the skull. That is why modern cars are equipped with sensors that disable the cushion when traveling at speeds up to 20 kilometers per hour. And at speeds above 40 kilometers/h, there is a signal about the need to buckle up. In parallel, as long as the belt is not in the lock, the airbag will be deactivated. By inserting a deceiver, the airbags are activated, and in case of impact, even at a low speed, they open, provoking the consequences described above. Only a fastened belt in combination with airbags creates the necessary and proper protective effect. By using the plugs, the driver is taking a great risk. The consequences can be fatal. Penalty for plugs. If you study carefully the CAO, then nothing specifically about plugs or deceptions in the document will not be said. There is simply no such concept there. But there is Article 12.6. It says that it is an offense to drive a vehicle while not wearing a seatbelt. The article clearly states that the penalty will be imposed not only if the driver, but also the front and rear passengers are not wearing a seatbelt. Trying to deceive the inspector by slinging a bag over the shoulder or the belt itself, but not inserting it into the lock, it will not be possible to avoid a fine when such a violation is detected. In all cases, the amount will be 1,000 rubles. It is also impossible to fasten the belt behind the back. Summarizing, it is hard to understand drivers who, in order not to buckle up, deceive the electronics of the car and bypass the security system. Some say they are uncomfortable, the belt is pressing or rubbing. In this case, it is worth replacing it or adjusting it so that you are comfortable. Categorically refuse the use of these cheats and always buckle up, regardless of the speed and the road on which you are traveling. And a plug can be used when the locks are not used for a long time. This will protect them from moisture, dust, and miscellaneous debris getting inside. In conclusion, seatbelt stoppers may seem like a convenient solution for preventing discomfort or hassle while driving, but their use poses significant dangers. By disabling the seatbelt safety features, these devices can increase the risk of injury or fatality in the event of an accident. It is crucial to prioritize safety and adhere to proper seatbelt usage, as they are designed to protect you and your passengers. Always remember, a seatbelt is your first line of defense on the road. Stay safe and make informed choices when it comes to vehicle safety. Thank you for watching.